I feel for you, Tommy. I feel for you. That's how I feel right now. Hello, everybody. Okay, couple things. First thing I would like to address is, okay, so this image right here. So Universal. This is how you do dinosaurs as bioweapons. This is how it's done. Dino Riders. That's it. You put space age steel on the back of a Stegosaurus. You give him a dude with a laser gun, and you let him just go kick some ass. You put a fucking machine gun turret on the head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Put some missile launchers on his backs, and give him some freaking, and have Arnold Schwarzenegger on the top there in a frog costume, and you just have him whoop some ass. That's how it's done. This show and this game series is awesome, and this artwork in particular is awesome. Dino Riders is awesome. Dino Riders kicks ass. We need to have Dino Riders come back. This is how you do dinosaurs as bioweapons. That's all I'm saying. They still wouldn't survive against a nuke, but it would be cool. It definitely has the coolness factor. Okay, on to the topic. So, back in the day, I want to kind of go back and revisit my little talk about Channel Awesome and the fall of Channel Awesome and the document and all that. And I've been musing about some things. Basically, back in the day when they were the hottest thing since sliced bread, they would get taken down all the time. Doug Walker got into feuds over copyright with YouTube all the time. James Rolfe got taken down a couple times. Spoonie got taken down. Everybody got taken down at a certain point. And even other people that were kind of rising at the same time as they had some contact with them, like, say, the Team 4-Star guys. Like, individually, like, HBI2K got, like, his stuff taken down all the frickin' time. Lanny got taken down once or twice. And Little Karibo in particular also got taken down. So, I want to say it was HBI2K who gave me the idea, but basically, after a while, I learned very quickly, if you like a show on YouTube, you need to download copies of the videos yourself. I learned that really quickly, and I believe the guy that turned me on to my first downloading program for FLV files was HBI2K. HBI2K had his Ask HBI2K videos, and he would talk about, like, a way to save, like, YouTube videos, and it was like, so I got to give a big thumbs up to Ben Crichton for recommending that for me. And as a result, thanks to him, I basically download pretty much everything that I like online. And if something comes up on YouTube and I really like it, I download it. Because you know what? It might not be there tomorrow. It might not. It might not, because someone might get a copyright strike. Someone might have some feud with some other a-hole and demand that and false flag their video and take it down. All sorts of bullshit goes down online. So it's like, if you really like something and you want to keep it, you got to download it. So as a result, being an old Channel Awesome fan, I've got a ton of the Nostalgia Critic stuff, as well as a lot of these people's stuff that I've just backed up, videos that they've forgotten about. And I've been going through my crap, and I've been looking back at these old videos. I've been looking back at Spoonie. I've been looking back at the Nostalgia Critic, and it's very interesting. I was watching some of Spoonie's Final Fantasy VIII review, which I still think is brilliant. I still think it's brilliant. A lot of his older stuff is still very, very good. A lot of his earlier content. And whereas I feel like I've also been watching a lot of Doug's stuff, a lot of Nostalgia Critic stuff, and it really hasn't aged well. And it's interesting. I just kind of wanted to talk about them and the angry reviewing genre in general, which I think is kind of at the core of the problem here. I think part of what worked is, and again, I like what amidst all this stuff, amidst what's coming out about Doug Walker and Mashad and all these people that are involved in this, it's in these videos, and I think part of the issue is a lot of the wrongdoing done by Doug, Rob, and Mashad that's come out is just kind of paints a disheartening picture. There's a lot that's come out in the past couple of years that is disheartening. They've always, like Doug and Rob in particular, have always given themselves off as a very, very friendly persona. I had a chance to meet them a couple times at conventions years ago, and they were very nice to me. But then you see how the stuff that they do behind the scenes, and it's very depressing. Spoonie, we saw devolve into madness, essentially, and being a massive jerk. You got Lindsay and Lewis, who are all with their crazy third wave feminism and all the nonsense that they did there. All that shit went down in Gamergate. There's a lot of issues. It's just kind of depressing. And then, of course, there's the big one. There's Justin, the whole revelation of the horrible things Justin was doing. And it's very, I guess all you can say is hindsight's 20/20, and it's kind of painful to go back and watch these videos. But I think one person that's come out of this that I really liked is, and she's got her own YouTube channel again, but it's Iron Liz came back and talked about this, and in particular talked about Justin. And I think one thing she said, which was very, very true, is that people are complex. It's like Justin was a friend to her, and was a friend to many people, and they've all kind of had to come to terms with this horrible other life he's had. Around this time, I personally have been dealing with some issues where I found out someone I essentially grew up with, an educator of mine, had a very, very horrible secret criminal life that we didn't know about, and he's in jail now. And I mean, it personally never affected me at the time, but it's kind of disturbing just to kind of go back and discover you didn't really, you don't really know people as well as you used to. And in this situation where it's like it's a media persona, you go back and kind of watch their stuff, and it kind of colors what you see before. And I think it's fair to say, like, if you go back and look at Spoonie's earlier videos, and I've also heard, like, other things, like, I've listened to is I've watched a lot of Expanded Media. I saw Chrissy Diggs on Expanded Media with Iron Liz, and talking about how Channel Awesome, that guy with the glasses, was originally just a lot of these people on YouTube doing videos and became like a community and hanging out with each other. And if you go back and look at those earlier videos, like the Brawl and a lot of the stuff they did at the time, like the Warrior video and a lot of those earlier videos they did, a lot of Spoonie's earlier stuff, there's a genuineness that is very nice to see. It's like you can still see there's a bunch of good young people just kind of getting together and making a product, making a show outside the Hollywood system. And there's still something inspiring about that. I go back and look at Doug, and maybe it's just the Jedi in me, but it's just like, there's a young guy here who's just trying to go and be an actor and basically put his stuff out online, and arguably, made it big in his own way. But I think one thing is problematic, though, is like you hear about all the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, or you've learned about it like I have, and it colors pretty much everything they say. And it's just kind of painful to go back and watch it. And you're like, you hear them complain about the morality of a given situation, and it's like, well, who the fuck are you to talk, man, given what we know about you? And I think a lot of this stuff is, like, I think, in particular, is I think part of what's problematic is the fact is basically the genre that they served in, which is the angry reviewing genre, which was something bizarre about these guys. Was like these were something, the first thing I really ever nerded out about. Because I'm a nerd about a lot of stuff. I'm a nerd about stuff like Dino Riders here. I like dinosaurs. I like science fiction. I like cartoon shows. I like video games. I like books. I like comics. I like all sorts of crazy stuff. And then I got into reviewers. And reviewers were the first thing that I got into that actively took all this other stuff that I like and shit on it. Just took a big old dump in its face. But we watched it. We watched it, enjoyed it because they were funny. Or at least they were funny at the time. And it seemed like, I feel like, I think the thing is, and I've heard other people opine on this before, but it makes me wonder, like, why did this become so successful? I mean, I think on the one level, it's I think, at least for me, and I think I might be in the minority on this, but a lot of the skits and things that these guys do, that Doug did and that James did, on the one hand, it was like, it might have been that, it was an acting project. It's like they're going out there and they're making their own show, and that's neat. That's really cool. And they're going to go and they're putting together, like Linkara had his old storyline with Lord Vice and the Entity and Missing Number and all that. And he had his own storyline, and that was kind of cool that they were doing that. They're going out and they're putting out their own story, and they're doing it guerrilla style, without the Hollywood system, and that was kind of cool. On the other thing, I think was they were tapping into that, like, 30-year nostalgic cycle that we seem to go through. I think it's a thing that humans have. When we hit 30, we just start looking back. And we look about all the stuff we used to like, all the stuff we used to grow up with, like good old Dino Riders here. We start looking back at it and thinking about it. I think that's part of what it was, is that Doug and Rob were talking about stuff from our childhood, which we hadn't thought about in a long time. And we were talking about it again. We were talking about old video games. James was talking about the original Ninja Turtles arcade, the original Ninja Turtles game for the NES. Doug was talking about the Garbage Pail Kids movie, or that crazy drug PSA with all the cartoon characters in it. They were bringing these things up, and it's like you go and you watch the video because you're kind of reliving it again. And I think that was part of the appeal. They were talking about it, but at the same time, they were picking it apart. And on the one hand, it's like I think that's where I've always had issues with them. I've had issues with criticism, and I don't like to say that because as an adult I should be able to take criticism, and we all should be able to take criticism. But it was weird because it was like they were taking stuff that we grew up with, stuff that's 30 years old, and making fun of it. Not really taking it into context, talking about, oh, look how dumb this is. Look how cheesy or stupid this is. What I've been watching lately with Doug is like the Full House video. And it's like, Full House, I grew up with Full House, I liked Full House. But yeah, it's a really corny show, especially if you look at it with a modern lens. But it's like, where is the sport in taking something that's old and kind of corny from a different era and picking it apart just for being what it is? I feel like part of my problem with this, and it's part of this thing that part of my issue with them, is that I really liked what they were doing. I really liked the stuff they were producing, but at the same time, all they did was pick apart and belittle stuff I grew up with and that I enjoyed. And it's like, why, like, I feel like, there's nothing wrong with criticizing something. There's nothing wrong with picking something apart. I mean, again, I picked apart Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom recently. I've been very critical of the new Star Wars movies. It's like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with criticism. Criticism is good and helps us grow. But it just felt like there was a level where it's like they're kind of mean and spiteful. And I think the other issue, too, is that it's like what we should be doing is we should be opening up the grounds to debate. The other thing I've been watching a lot lately, which I've just been kind of watching for fun and just enjoying, is Best of the Worst from Red Letter Media. And I think therein is kind of the differing attitude. It's like, and then like they're very critical. They're very critical. Like Mike and Jay and all of them they'll pick a movie apart. They'll make fun of modern movies. They'll make fun of old movies, and they'll call movies dumb and shit and whatnot. But at the same time, they still keep on getting together, and all they even though they kind of like hem and haw about it, they sit down and they watch 3 old low budget movies, and you get the feeling is the reason why is because they really like these movies. It's like it felt like there was like this elitist attitude with a lot of nostalgia critic stuff, where essentially it was like he's funny, Doug's funny, so we should listen to whatever Doug says. When Doug says a movie's bad, it's bad. And he wouldn't say, and like his official attitude was, well, you can like whatever you like, but it was like at the same time, it's like if he said it was crap, it was this attitude like, well, you like a crap movie then. It was like there was this attitude that it was like, no, Doug's right, the movie's bad. And I don't think that's fair. I think like every movie has its day in the sun. I feel like it's open. It's really on an individual basis. Let me tell you about this. Well, let's use Dino Riders here as an example, since I pulled this up. So this show, probably the best thing about the show right now is this picture. This picture is the most metal thing ever, and it just captures your imagination, and just really just kind of blows your mind of this possibility of this sci-fi story with dinosaurs and aliens fighting each other. It's really awesome. You actually watch the show, it is the corniest fucking show ever. It's old school He-Man, 1980s, designed to sell toys. And it's really kind of corny, and that's why it really didn't last that long. It lasted about 13 episodes, had a very short run, and it was done. But it's still an enjoyable show for what it is. If nothing else, the idea is brilliant. The idea is brilliant, and it has a decent little franchise attached to it. You've got awesome art and promotional material like this. You had the toys, which it was designed to sell, which were great. I had the Stegosaurus. I got the T-Rex. I had a couple of the Triceratops. I got a bunch of these freaking things. The big one was like the Brontosaurus, which was the big play center. That was the big thing they had at the end of the series. Individually, the show, it's a little corny. It's a little cheesy. Hasn't exactly aged well. You'd probably be better off watching something like the Justice League Unlimited or something like that, or Young Justice, or something a little more mature. But it's okay for what it is. By 80 standard, it's a simple, fun little adventure story with dinosaurs and aliens. It's got a pretty cool premise. And in all honesty, it's a shame it didn't take off like other things have, like Power Rangers or other shows, and it gotten time to expand and grow. I think this would be really ripe to come back and to play around with the concept a little bit. It was still a fun little idea. It's not perfect, but it is what it is. And I feel like there's this attitude with angry reviewing where it's basically, let's just shit on everything. It's like, it's this weird cannibalistic process of watch my stuff, enjoy my stuff, watch as I make fun of, belittle all these things. Well, one of those things I might make fun of at some point in time is maybe something that you like, something that you enjoy and you love. And I'm going to tear it to fucking shreds because I'm right. I'm right. And maybe that's just with the success that these guys had and the ego that it kind of came with it. And of course, now here's the problem with that attitude is because what goes around comes around. One of the people I'm watching a lot right now is a great guy, J.P. Bonham on YouTube, also known as Terrible Writing Advice. He's a writer, and he does these little cute little kind of Yahtzee-style animations where he basically does reverse psychology, and he plays a character who gives you terrible writing advice, encourages you to do all the wrong things in stories, and always have a love triangle and this, that, and the other. And he always makes little jokes about these cliches and these things that wind up cropping up in various genres and different writing styles. And he makes little jokes about it. And again, he's got a much more positive attitude. It's like there's something kind of more lasting about that. And at the end of the day, though, he's also, given his real opinions about how to have good writing advice. It's, and one thing he points out, he makes fun of cliches all the time. But the thing is, cliches aren't necessarily bad. Cliches are just what they are. They're cliche. You can improve upon a cliche by basically doing something different with it or doing something smart with it. That's how you grow with these things. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's nothing wrong with criticizing things, and it's like, and I'm one to do it, but my personal standard is definitely different. I don't think, like, for me, it kind of bothers me, even like from the best of the worst guys, even like Red Letter Media, when they call a movie bad. Again, first of all, I don't mind it with them because it feels like they love bad movies, they love B movies, but it's like they love this stuff, they love everything. I have this zest for all this stuff. I want to watch more movies. I want to watch more what not only Hollywood's producing, but what other like low budget guys are producing. I want to watch old movies. I want to watch all different types of things. It doesn't matter how bad it is or how old it is or how ridiculous it is. It's like bad movies are fun because even if they get everything wrong or the lighting's dumb or bad or whatnot or the story is dumb or whatnot, there's creativity. There's raw creativity. There's something there. There's something cool going on. I feel like every writer, everyone who creates content, whoever makes something that does something creative deserves their day in the sun. It may be terrible to you, it may be garbage to you, but for someone else will fucking love it. For them, that will inspire them to creativity. This will probably be, actually a little promo for tonight. We're actually, Malmoto is going to be doing a Pokemon RPG coming up soon, which I'm going to be playing in. And, I'm not really that into Pokemon. I never got onto the Pokemon trend. I thought it was kind of dumb when it came out. But, if we ask the people, if we're democratic about this, well, I'm wrong now, aren't I? Because people love Pokemon. And even I must admit, Pokemon is a hugely successful franchise. One man's garbage is another man's treasure. So, I think I just overall part of the reason I stopped watching Channel Awesome in the first place was this attitude of hating on everybody else's stuff. It really kind of comes around to bite you in the back. For me, and it has. It's like, and one of Terrible Writing Advice's videos was talking about criticism. And basically, and again, he does the reverse psychology thing where it's like, oh, be mean to call a person the worst thing ever, rip up their story in front of them, do all sorts of horrible things. Because someday it might be your turn. And of course, the joke being is the big douchebag critic eventually has to eat his words when it's his turn to be put in the spotlight. And I think that's part of the problem with looking back at their older videos. It's really ironic. Going back and watching the creator of Kickassia, the writer of To Boldly Flee, come here and lecture me about how bad Full House is and how awful that show is. It's really interesting, basically, hearing them kind of condemn the morality of either characters or other creators, given what we know. It's like about a lot of the Channel Awesome people. Given what we know about like Doug and Rob refusing to pay people or letting these abuses go on, it's like, and I think that's the problem. That's what's more infuriating about it. I mean, but there's other problems too. It's like, if you go back, it's just like, it makes you wonder. It's like I went to a hypnotist show, and I'm going back and I'm watching these old videos that this guy did 10 years ago, and it's just like, I used to laugh at this. I used to think it was funny. It's like their humor has not aged terribly well, and it's only gone downhill by the time they get to this horrible freaking sketch comedy that they're doing at this point, with no clips from the stuff that they're talking about. It's like, well, like, what the hell? And again, the arrogance of demo reel, saying it's like, oh, Hollywood does this, that, and the other, but we can do better. It's like, well, clearly you can't. And I'm one to talk. I mean, you look at my still image that doesn't fucking move. I'm well aware, but at least I'm genuine. At least I know I'm garbage. At least I know I'm just a guy who's, if I'm honest, filming this in the back of my car right now. Because it's the only place I can get a chance to actually talk about this, but I'm just being myself. In terms of criticism, like me personally, and this is just me, this may not be you out there, but it's like, to me, a movie or a book or whatnot, it's not bad unless it pisses me off. If it pisses me off, it's bad. It's all about how does it make you feel? And I feel, and again, if like Doug Walker feels genuinely, if he honestly feels the way he does about everything he comments on, it's like, well, who am I to judge him on that? But I certainly disagree. I certainly disagree with a lot of the attitude these angry reviewers had, because again, and what many others have said this before me, like Social Injustice Warrior has said, or A. Salieri has said, it's like, these are plastic people. Doug Walker specifically started going after low-hanging fruit. He specifically went after movies and videos that everybody thought was bad. So at the end of the day, what is his real opinion? I don't know. And again, I don't hate the guy. It's like, I think it's just kind of, it's difficult because I feel like I'm kind of that place with like Iron List, that people are complex. It's again, he was the few times I met him, he was a really nice guy. I still think there's something creative and beautiful that he made. I still feel like his older content, a lot of these guys' older content, is worth seeing. They did create an entire genre. And I like their stuff for what it is. And in fact, arguably, it's more interesting now that all this stuff has come out. That, like, given what we've seen before, a lot of these guys have turned out to become hypocrites. It's kind of more insightful now, too, given what we know. But it's, but at the same time, it's disheartening. It's like going back and looking at this stuff. It's like, oh, I remember this review. I remember this video. Oh, man, that was funny. And it's just kind of bittersweet. And I don't know. I guess I'm enjoying myself, but it's just kind of... I definitely am not laughing at their stuff the way I used to. I'm just kind of... It's kind of a somber viewing experience. And again, this isn't all of them. I'm pretty sure if I put on any one person I haven't been watching lately, but two people from Channel Awesome who I haven't been watching recently, but I need to go back and watch again. And I guarantee you, I will have the exact opposite reaction. Is Brad Jones and Phalis. Those guys I kept watching after I stopped watching the main channel. They're consistently funny. And again, I think it's part of the fact is that they're not coming from the negative reviewing place. They're just being genuine, talking about the stuff. And they're not hating on everything. They're poking fun. It's like, I think that's the thing. It's like, it's a hard, intangible, abstract thing where it's like, there's a fine line between I'm playfully making fun of something and creating content, whereas I have an ego and I'm going to put this thing down to make myself feel better. Or to make you think higher of me as a result. So, I don't know. But yeah, and I'm running out of time now. I gotta get moving here. So, another rant by me. But, yeah, it certainly has not aged well. I'm pretty much glad the whole angry reviewing thing is kind of dead and buried. I mean, there's still people that are, the people I'm watching now, like Red Letter Media, Dishonored Wolf, and Mauler, and people like that, they're still doing the thing where they review a movie and they make fun of it, but there's a couple things. First of all, they're genuinely funny. They're kind of raw. They don't pull their punches. But also their criticisms come across as genuine. They're basically, there's no bullshit. And on top of that, it's like if they like a movie, they'll tell you they like it. They're being fair. It's like what I like, especially about the Red Letter Media guys, is the intellectual discourse. I love Best of the Worst because let's take three movies. They're on that eternal quest for a good, bad movie. And as a result, and again, I feel like you shouldn't hate on stuff you haven't read or haven't experienced yet because it's exploration. You should give it all the chance. All of it has the potential to be wonderful and a beautiful process. And even if it was bad, you got to experience or watch a movie or a video you may not have checked out otherwise. There's still something beautiful and wonderful about that. And at the end of the day, they're having a discussion about it and having their genuine reaction. It's like I think that's cool. A lot of stuff that they've trashed on Best of the Worst, I want to go and check out. I think I remember One of the ones they trashed was Space Mutiny. Space Mutiny is a classic Mystery Science 3000 episode. I fucking love Space Mutiny. I love Space Mutiny. They destroyed it, which made me cry. How dare you, Cameron Mitchell, Reb Brown, what the hell? But whatever. It's like there's still a diamond in the rough, and I think it all depends on you, the person. And we should all kind of every video, every story, every work of art out there deserves its day in the sun. And it may not be for everybody, but someone will enjoy it. I at least hope so, especially given the low quality of the videos I produce. So that's my rant for the day, people. I will join you later tonight. We're going to be doing our Pokemon RPG. Again, Pokemon I'm not really into, but I'm into role-playing. So let's see if I can have some adventures in a world that I may not have given a chance to before. Let me give Pokemon its day in the sun. See if I enjoy it. So this is the Dread Pirate saying dinosaurs with laser guns on their head are really, really cool. Catch y'all later.